Hello, and welcome to What in the Mystical Hell podcast. We are your hosts. I am Nikki Jobin.
And I am Lauren Aviance.
And we are so glad to have you with us here today. Today is a special podcast episode because we are recording from Heinolds First and Last Chance Saloon in Jack London Square, Oakland, California. This is, what did you say, the largest or the oldest?
The oldest continually operating bar on the West Coast. And we are currently sitting in the room with all the original tables from the riverboat that the building was built out of. They are approximately 200 years old.
That's
and
really
we
cool.
are using only ambient light from the original early 1900s, late 1800s gas lighting. So we are in virtual darkness with what would have been the light that the bartenders and the customers had in the early 1900s.
That's pretty damn dark.
It's really dark.
Thankfully, I've gotten my darkness training at Martini's.
Right?
But this is darker than that.
Yes, it is pretty dark. Skip would love this.
Yeah. So I'm super duper excited to be here recording this. I'm looking around the room and there are pictures all over the place. There's memorabilia. There's a lot of really fun. I don't know if it's stuff you have all year round or if it's just Halloween-y stuff that you have kind of hanging on the ceiling.
All year
Round. I was really looking up. There's a giant like fake spider on the ceiling above the table that we're sitting at. And I'm like, please don't let that thing drop on my head because I will freak out.
It drops.
I know it drops, but I'm just, I'm just hoping that if you have any, little jokester spirits here, that they don't decide that this is the time to do that. Pardon me. As is, what seems to be semi-usual for me, I do have a bit of a cough, so I may have to pause every now and then to cough, but thankfully I have Miss Lauren here to help us out when I am indisposed.
Right on. I will entertain you.
You do entertain me. This is true. Tonight, our topic, we are so close to Samhain and Halloween, and we have been watching some movies, so we decided to take a look at witches in the media. Like, what do we see? What do they have? We've come a long way from some of the more movies where they're making witches, seem very bad, very evil. And now we have a lot of movies where I think they're portraying witches in the media in a kinder light than they used to.
Right.
But we decided to not only look at some of the newer movies, but we decided to go to some classic movies. So, what are the two movies that you picked for your picks?
I chose Serpent and the Rainbow and Angel Heart.
And then my picks were Practical Magic, and we watched The Craft too.
Yes. I did not get to watch The Craft.
Did you watch the first one or the second? Not the second one.
I didn't watch either of them. But so you'll have to take that one.
Yeah, I'll have to take that one.
And then we chose Beetlejuice.
Yeah, the first one.
The original one.
Yeah, I rewatched that the other night. So I had never seen... Well, you know what? I feel like I watched Serpent and the Rainbow, but it was a really, really long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because I watched that movie and I didn't remember any of it. And, well, okay, so I have to start at the beginning. First, I watched Angel Eyes, because I thought it was Angel Eyes, which is a movie with Jennifer Lopez, where it's this weird chance meeting that she meets this guy and they fall in love, and I'm watching this movie going, there's nothing paranormal in this movie. Like, there's nothing witchy in this movie except the weird way that they met, and this guy is some, like, weird... Not savant. Why I wondered if he was a savant in the beginning, and then throughout the movie you find out why he is the way that he is. And I'm like, what the hell? What is this movie? And I went on Messenger so I could message you and go, what is this Angel Eyes movie? Why is everyone telling me to watch this movie? And then I read Angel Heart, and I was like, oh, well, that was an hour and a half wasted. But I finished watching the movie because by now I'm invested. But let's talk about Angel Heart first.
Okay.
Do you want to do Serpent and the Rainbow first? Is that your first one?
No. Either one doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I'd definitely never seen Angel Heart before.
Right. Both of my picks have some complicated racial undertones to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just growing up in the black community that I grew up with, this is called the Great White Hope scenario, that the white man comes and saves everybody of color.
Yeah.
And the women too.
Yeah.
But with Angel Heart, it takes a turn that he is not the Great White Hope.
Yeah.
But there's still some issues of both movies follow a similar vein. One is more interloper.
Yeah.
And the other is unwitting dupe.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, okay, I forget what year the Serpent and the Rainbow was, but Angel
85.
Heart was... Okay, so that's 85. Angel Heart was 1989.
It was, and it takes place in 55.
Yes. But you have to remember that when these movies are made, like if you watch them, first of all, I will say it is don't have your children there, because there are sexual scenes and there are violent scenes. So it's probably best to watch those movies after the kids go to sleep. That being said, I really did enjoy watching both of them. Mm-hmm. Angel Heart, I definitely did not see any of that coming.
Yeah.
I don't know, should we say, like, spoiler alert if you've never, like, seen it? I mean...
Yeah, we can say spoiler alert.
Because we're going to talk about it, so if you haven't seen them, maybe you want to put us on pause, watch the movies, come back. Or if you don't care, we're just going to probably spoil it for you. So, Angel Heart is Mickey Rourke.
Yes.
But I also had Lisa Bonet in there, who I didn't expect to see. That was kind of awesome.
Right.
But then I'd read this thing online where it said that this was the movie that made her decide to stop acting.
Not surprised.
Yeah, that was some crazy shit.
Well, she had just done the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
And she wanted to break out of the good girl role from the Cosby Show, and boy, didn't she.
Yeah, she... That was some wild shit. So Mickey Rourke plays Harry Angel, who is this New York City PI, and he gets hired to find this singer, this crooner.
Right.
Who I don't remember what his name is.
Johnny Favorite.
Johnny, yes. And, it took me a second to get that his last name was Favorite, because they kept talking about the favorite. I'm like, is this their way of trying to be cool and not talk about it? And was that... the client, that was not
Robert De Niro.
Yes, thank you. I was like, not Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. Very young Robert De Niro.
Yeah, he looks like so good in that movie too.
Even Mickey Rourke too. I see Mickey Rourke now, and he's rough looking. But back then, I was like, oh, he's kind of cute.
Yeah.
But I like his character because I kind of identify with that, like that brash personality. Mm-hmm. But he was about as subtle as a fucking freight train.
Right.
So he's looking for this guy. He's got to go to all these different places. He goes to an insane asylum, and then he ends up down in New Orleans looking for this crooner, and he definitely gets more than he bargained for.
Yes, he does. And one of the things that I think is very interesting and compelling about it, first of all, I saw it in the movie theaters when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
And it was instantaneous. I identified with so much in the film. Uh-huh. Because of the hoodoo and voodoo practitioners that I grew up around.
Yeah.
And this movie, in contrast to Serpent and the Rainbow, is specifically American hoodoo voodoo. Mm-hmm. It is, the Serpent and the Rainbow is Haitian voodoo, which has its own different ways of expressing the faith. But this is what I grew up around more than anything else. Mm-hmm. And so the mounting of the gods, giving oneself over to possession is, first of all, I find that in almost every non-Christian, well, forget about it, the Holy Ghost, it's possession, possessed by the Holy Ghost. So it happens even in Christianity. I don't know about Judaism. Islam, they do have forms of possession. Mm-hmm. And so this whole movie is about possession.
Yeah. You don't think about it that way until the end, but You see it in so many different things. I'm trying to, like, not get to the end before we get to the end, but the end clears up so many things.
Yes, the end is the answer to all of the questions.
Yeah.
And you think you understand what's happening, and then all of it falls completely apart.
Yeah.
The one thing that we glossed over a little bit is that Robert De Niro plays a character named Louis Cypher. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that Louis Cypher is actually Lucifer.
Uh-huh. Oh, I caught that right away, though.
You did?
Yeah. I was like, just his whole character, he's like, in this black suit, he's very elegant, he's, obviously from a different age, he's got the long nails.
Did you notice that they got longer as the time went on?
A little bit. I didn't really notice it more till the end,
mm-hmm.
but I definitely noticed the long nails right away.
They make a point of... I love all of the symbolism in this movie. The fans going backwards and forwards, representing the room that Johnny Favorite took possession of Harold Angel's soul.
Yeah.
M.
So, spoiler alert, Harry's looking for himself. Yeah.
It took me a minute to really figure out. So, the things that I identify as being part of the faith practice, there's High John the Conqueror route. They talk about that. I think, and I can't remember if they too talk about Adam and Eve route, which is another root work.
I don't remember if they talked about that.
I don't remember if they do either, but yeah. High John the Conqueror route, he uses it as a guise, but it's a protection route. And it's intended, it's supposed to go in your mojo bag.
Yeah.
Which, the mojo shows up in Serpent and the Rainbow.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely saw that. That was very cool. But I'm gonna be really good and stick on this one first. I like that there was a lot of symbolism, and there are key elements that they had in the background throughout the movie that you don't know that you'll need at the ending until it comes to that part.
Right.
Like when he's looking through. So at one point he's trying to talk to the girlfriend of Favorite.
Right.
And she is this seer. She's she's a reader. And so he goes to New Orleans to find her. And when he's talking to her, you get little bits and pieces of things. Mm-hmm. And then later, when another spoiler, she dies, and he's looking through her things. There's a key element in that scene that you don't know that you need until later.
Right.
But it was so funny because I remember looking at that going, what? Like, you have all these random things, but here's the one thing he doesn't touch.
Right.
Like, why is that? I wonder if that's going to be important later. Because there's always something like that. Yeah. And like I said, there's a lot of violence. Everybody fucking dies. Everybody you talk to fucking dies.
Everybody dies.
Except for those stupid cops.
This is, I make the joke at the end of movies where somebody says, well, what happened? Everybody died?
Yeah.
This is literally one of those movies where everybody died.
Yeah. I do love the scene where after he's talked to the jazz player and he's talked to Lisa Bonet, and then you see them in a scene together, and it's a hoodoo scene.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the possession, and it's when, you've aspected the Loa, and she's clearly possessed by the Loa as she's dancing.
Right.
Pardon me.
Right, and I thought she did a good job of this character, which I think, it's sad that she quit acting afterwards because she probably could have gotten far.
Yeah.
But it is one of my favorite movies that represents voodoo and hoodoo faith in an earnest way without cheapening it. There's a point where she says, well, it's really funny nailing some guy to a cross, isn't it? And she says, we're not murderers. And there's a connotation, there's a stigma of people in the voodoo and hoodoo faiths that they are evil.
Absolutely there is. Absolutely. And what people don't realize, I think, they see you, you're sacrificing a goat, you're sacrificing a chicken, and people automatically equate that as bad.
Right.
But what they don't understand is that sacrifice, that life, is treated with reverence. It's not done in a cavalier way at all.
Right.
In these faiths.
Right.
Like, for them to give these sacrifices to the Loa it's really a high, it's an important thing. It's a heavy thing to take a life.
Right.
To dedicate it to your Loa.
Right.
To your gods.
Right.
And I don't think that is portrayed enough in American cinema.
Right. That people who are practitioners, because there are a lot of movies where voodoo and hoodoo practitioners are characterized as evil.
Uh-huh.
Which, are we putting this to bed?
Do you want to put it to bed, or do you want to keep going? I can do either.
Well, it's a good segue to Serpent and the Rainbow.
It is. Okay, let's put it to bed. Let's put it to bed.
But if you get a chance, Angel Heart is a great movie. Yeah. It is lots of twists and turns. And I had to sit and do all of the mental acrobats to figure out all of the answers to the very end. But
because the spoiler that we gave you for the end, that is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg there.
Yeah.
Like, it helps you make sense of everything.
But you still got to figure out when Johnny did what he did and then lost his face and went to war and then came back as Harold Angel.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
But it was like crazy like a fox crazy, though. Not like crazy like...
It's a smart movie.
Yeah.
Now, on to... Well...
Excuse me. God damn it.
Do you want to do one of yours next? Or do you want to do Serpent and the Rainbow?
Either or. I mean, this is a good segue into Serpent and the Rainbow.
It is. Because Serpent and the Rainbow is has good examples of the evil characterization of voodoo practitioners.
Yeah.
And this is voodoo. This is Haitian voodoo. So I don't have as much of a background. There's a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
But there's also some variations that are a little more African than they are American.
Let's do Serpent and the Rainbow, because honestly, that movie at the end really made me laugh.
Of course.
Like, I was there with it the whole way.
Until the end.
And then they have all that crazy shit at the end, and you're just laughing your ass off. So this has Bill Pullman in it.
Right.
And Noelle's like looking at the screen, and she's like, she didn't really watch it with me. She just happened to be there. She's like, why is he so familiar? Why is he so familiar? I'm like, he was the dad in the Casper movie. I wanted to also say, he was the president in Independence Day. He's been in so many movies.
Right.
But this was the one I knew that she would get. So, basically, in The Serpent and the Rainbow, Bill Pullman plays this medical researcher. And, he starts out in the Andes. And he has a spiritual experience there. And finds his spirit guide animal. That's right as the very first scene that you come into,
right,
is him having this trippy experience where he's with a what would you call him? Like
a shaman.
Yeah, there you go, a shaman. And he drinks this drink thinking that it's just some kind of tea, and it actually is a potion. And he dreamwalks.
I believe that it's ayahuasca, an early acknowledgement of ayahuasca.
Okay.
So that's what I think that they're portraying in that.
And so he has this crazy, this dream that freaks him out, but it's really him finding his spirit animal, who is his guide and protector, which later has bearing later in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But then he comes back to America, and if you know anything at all about how voodoo and zombies are portrayed in the movies, this kind of goes along that same formula. Is where there's the belief that the voodoo practitioner has made someone into a zombie, and it's not really raising of the dead. It is a formula that has been passed down through the generations that puts people basically into a trance-like state where they are perceived to be dead, which we now know is medically possible.
Yes. It's called tetrodotoxin.
Yes, which is basically the poison of the pufferfish.
Yeah.
So it will lower your blood pressure, like your heart doesn't seem to beat, you're not breathing, you're basically under so deep that you have the appearance of death. And what's happening here is that people are buried and their family thinks that they're dead, but this practitioner knows and leaves them in there for 3 months, I think they said was the time span?
I think so.
And then, so basically while you're under this, you feel everything, you are awake, you know what's going on, and by the time it wears off, you are buried. You are in the ground, and nobody can hear you scream. Mm-hmm. And so you basically kind of lose your shit. And by the time they take you out 3 months later, you're basically an empty vessel for them to do whatever with.
Right.
And that's the whole point. So they hear about this instance of this man that this has happened to, and the pharmaceutical company that Bill Pullman works for wants to know how to do it, because they're like, gosh, all the applications of how we could help people. I'm sure that that's really why they wanted it. I'm absolutely sure.
Right.
So Bill Pullman goes to Haiti.
Right. Okay, so it's set in Haiti. It's based on a book about a true story, which is I have to read the book to have better insight. Right now we're just doing the movie. Uh-huh. And it takes place in 1985 in Haiti. One of the things that I always, this is the Great White Hope, the white man saving the black people scenes, but it's a Wes Craven movie, so you have to understand it's going to come with a little cheesy, formulaic kind of quality to it.
But honestly, you didn't see the real cheese until the end. Wes Craven doesn't disappoint.
Yeah. I have a big thing about mystical tourism. I think that it is a dangerous thing for the practitioner. It's a dangerous thing for the tourist. Uh-huh. You've heard a lot of people who have gone to sweat lodges, which is Native American practice, in like Arizona, and they die because they're not being conducted by people who know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing is that people take exception to the interloper who is coming into their environment and trying to take something, trying to exploit something, trying to change the way that things are done. Uh-huh. Now, in this particular movie, there is a good voodoo sect and an evil voodoo sect.
Yeah, we have the Hugon and the Bakor. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do depict Erzuli, which is the feminine goddess attributed to love and jealousy, which is that's the ritual that they do for the tourists.
Yeah.
In the movie, but it's also an actual ritual that is done for love and for controlling your lover.
Yeah. And I like that. So in this scene, the good voodoo practitioner is talking to the woman that Bill Pullman eventually becomes involved with, and she is another doctor that's there, and she's the doctor that has alerted them about this particular case.
Right.
So that's how they meet. That's how she comes into all this.
Right.
But she also is someone that is capable of aspecting the Uzuli.
Right.
You know, and according to the movie, she's been doing this since she was the little girl, and she's considered a favorite.
Right.
And so the good practitioner wants her to dance and basically wants her to aspect. And she doesn't want to do it, and then it ends up happening anyway.
Right.
So I find that is a very, it's a kind of telling point there. Mm-hmm. You know, it's about, there's no consent involved. And, she has already said no.
Right.
It wasn't even obscure at all. She's like, nope, I'm not doing that tonight. And then I think someone comes, did they blow a powder in her face and then she kind of went into the dance? Did I catch that?
Yes.
Yeah. So they have this power, which is probably, some herbal concoction that helps with a little bit of mind control, makes you a little bit more open to things.
Right. Why does it escape me? Mamawasa, which is an alcohol herbal liquid that oftentimes is spit.
Yeah.
In ceremonies.
Yeah, I've seen that in other ceremonies. Yeah.
That is used also in American voodoo and hoodoo.
Yeah.
So they often use that as a way of loosening your inhibitions.
Yeah.
Which, since it's alcohol based, that's the science that goes along with it.
And you do see that in other practices, like if people are going to do dream walking, they will often smoke something, or in the lodges they have something being burned.
Mm-hmm.
For visions in witchcraft, if you burn wormwood and you breathe in the smoke, but you're not supposed to ever do that in an enclosed space because it can be poisonous.
Right.
But it will help you induce visions.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So you see a lot of this here. And as a side note, our bad practitioner is also the head of the secret police.
Right.
So he's got a lot of power. And
Baby Doc's secret police.
Yeah.
On that. So there is a political aspect that goes along with it.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is happening also in the time of where towards the end you have the revolution that's happened. The family that was in power runs away and
right.
And the people take over the country.
Right.
But this bad practitioner is there during this scene with all the dancing and the aspecting, and causes a ruckus because of course he's going to make himself seen and his power felt.
Right.
And I like the things that I really liked was I liked how they showed the Loa.
Mm-hmm.
And because from my understanding, I don't do this myself, but from my understanding, when you have your Loa, when you have your sacred space, it's not just something you don't throw it up and you've practiced there, okay, I'm going to draw all these symbols and now I'm going to have all these great power. It is something that is built up over time and over years, over every sacrifice, every drop of blood, every prayer that you put down, that power is built and built and built. Mm-hmm. And you definitely, I feel like they did a good job of showing that visually, because, this bad practitioner has everybody's soul.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that.
Right.
I don't love the way that Wes Craven depicted, when Bill Pullman's kind of out of his mind at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the way they depicted some of the hallucinations he was having, because it was really campy. I think that it could have been
campy.
And I get it; it's supposed to be campy, but it could have been done so much better.
Yeah.
And I think that if it were remade now, obviously there'd be AI and all this other bullshit, so it would be really mind trippy. But it was kind of it was almost like watching claymation when they did some of it.
That was where it turned into Beetlejuice for me.
Yeah, because, you have this great movie where, you're hitting these really heavy subjects.
Yeah.
And then it's I'm going to lighten this up a little bit and make you laugh. Which it did make me laugh. It made me laugh really, really hard because I was this is so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you kind of find yourself going, now I want to know what happened. What happens now?
Well, I still think that there's a very real aspect of you don't belong here, white man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that is on all sides. Even the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
All practitioners are wary of him.
Yeah. Because he's sticking his nose in where it doesn't belong. He's trying to learn formulas that are handed down through the generations. Like he comes in and he's looking for this magic powder that's going to put the person in this trance-like state. And, he basically makes a drug deal to get it.
Right. Right. He's the complicated, problematic character in the film because he's supposed to be the hero.
he's supposed to be the hero, but he's kind of like, you know, oh, $1,000. Okay, here's your $1,000, right?
Yeah.
You know,
he's working for Big Pharma.
Yeah.
I do like the way it uses real references and names, and it definitely makes me think twice about ever dabbling in zombieism.
Yeah, no shit, right?
And it touches on possession both by the spirit and by the person using the spells.
Yeah.
And so I think that in my practice, I don't think that you can truly possess somebody. I think that is a fantasy. I think that you can do things that might influence someone's behavior, but actual possession, I think, is... I've not ever seen, other than the possession of one by the spirits, but from one person to another, I've never
like, I have your soul and you have it in a jar, yeah.
Right. I've never seen that actually be.
Yeah. I think that they could have elaborated on that a little bit more, and I think that you know, there are psychedelic drugs that, yes, can make you believe my soul has been taken and this person is controlling me. Right. I have to do what this person says.
Right.
Are they able to speak to me from a separate country? Probably not.
Right.
At least not in my personal experience. Right. I have never seen anything like that.
Right.
Like, I don't discount anything. I think nothing's impossible, but I have never heard of, met, or experienced anything like that. So I don't know. I have a non-decision there, one way or the other, whether it would be real or not. Because I could say no, and then tomorrow, you know, I'm walking around without a soul. Oh. Oh wait, that's every day. Just kidding.
I was gonna say, who says you have one now?
Moving right along. I did like this movie. I would watch it again.
Yeah, I've watched all the movies, I think, twice or 3 times, depending.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you got so much out of them.
Yeah.
Because they have been such a staple that I've taken them for granted in a way. So it's nice to hear your take on them.
Yeah. As someone that doesn't practice but is interested in the practice and has read a little bit about it, I definitely can see the differences between the practices in the 2 movies. And having been to New Orleans and kind of, I mean, obviously it's from the 50s to now. There's a lot of differences, but it was very, very interesting to see.
Yeah.
I did like them. I would watch them again. I would be interested if they did a remake of The Serpent and the Rainbow, how they'd change it now.
Right.
Excuse me. All right, what movie do we want to talk about now?
Well, the one that I watched, and that I think actually has a connection to Serpent and the Rainbow, is Practical Magic.
That is like my favorite movie. I love. Obviously, you can tell I love that movie. So, Practical Magic is the story of 2 sisters, and I cannot think of the family name.
Owens,
thank you. This is the Owens sister, the Owens family. This movie is based on a series of books about the practical. There's actually 4 books in the series. The movie Practical Magic is based on the 3rd book.
Okay.
And they are coming out with a Practical Magic 2. Very excited. Both Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman are on board to do that. I would love to see more of the aunts as well. You have Stockard Channing as one of the aunts and Diane Weiss as the other.
Right.
And they're perfect. They're perfect in it. But this is the story of the Owens family that goes back to their ancestor Maria, who came over. And if you read the first books, it gives you like the whole history of how she came to be where she is. But basically, she was betrayed by her lover, left on this island pregnant, And she was so hurt by what happened, she decided that she would never fall in love again, and this cursed her whole family. So that's basically the whole premise about this. And this is really a movie about love.
Right.
Not just between you and a lover, but love of family. You have these 4 complicated women that live together. You have the aunts, and then you have the 2 sisters, Jillian and... oh my god, my brain stops.
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock's character is... Jillian and... Fuck, I think my brain stopped. Really. God, it'll come to me. I'm going to blurt it out any minute now. So, basically, the two sisters came to live with their aunts when their mother passed away. You're going to look up her name. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sally. Jillian and Sally Owens.
Got it.
So the 2 Owens sisters, when their mother dies, their father dies, and then their mother dies of a broken heart, as the story goes. They go to live with the aunts. When you live with the aunts, there are no rules. Magic is the is the theme of the whole thing. You have chocolate cake for breakfast. Nobody does any homework, and you do spells all day long. Basically, is what it is. Well, they grow up, and the one sister, Jillian, who is played by Nicole Kidman, is enthralled by love and can't wait to fall in love. The other sister, Sally, sees what had happened to her mother, and she never wants to fall in love. So much that as a child, she does a spell to create the perfect love that she believes does not exist.
Right.
So, this has bearing later in the movie. As an adult, she's like, nope, nope, nope. The aunts are so tired of it. They do a spell to help her fall in love. And she finds her husband on the island, who is not the person that she has done a spell for when she was a child. But they fall in love. They have 2 beautiful little girls. What happens? Death tick beetle. Husband dies, because that is the Owens curse. Excuse me. So she comes back to live with the aunts. But she's telling them, my children will never do witchcraft.
Right.
She's done with it, because she finds out that the aunts did this spell on her, and she is furious. Furious and depressed, and her sister, who ran away from home a long time ago to go live her life, comes back, kind of revives her, gets her moving again, and then goes back along her merry way. The trouble starts when her sister, Jillian, falls in love with the wrong man.
Right.
And, he's crazy pants, and he is, oh God, what is his name? I forget the actor of this, but he was also in Grey's Anatomy.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's like this, he idolizes Louis L'Amour and all the American cowboys.
Jimmy Angelov.
Yes, Jimmy Angelov is the character, and he is obsessed with Jillian. He wants them to be there forever, but you find out throughout the movie that this man has this, I think, Madonna whore complex that he puts women through. Right? Mm-hmm. I love you, I'm going to love bomb you, love bomb you, love bomb you. But now I'm afraid that you're going to leave me, so I'm going to smother you.
Right. He's definitely a toxic male.
Yes. And so he has now kidnapped Jillian. She calls for help. Sally comes to the rescue. And one of the ways that I guess Sally has been controlling him, which I love their use of this, is Jimmy likes his tequila. So she puts belladonna in the tequila.
Right. And
that's how she gets him to knock out so she can get some sleep or do the things that she has to do. So during the course of this rescue, Sally's trying to drive and put some belladonna in this shit to give to this guy to drink, and he drops cold.
Right.
And they think he's dead. Basically. And now they come home, and the aunts have left. They're on their own. They're trying to figure out how to get away with this death. So they decide to bring him back to life. Mm. Now I want to hear your take on this.
Well, one is the theme between the two movies that I found that was correlated was sex magic and love magic. Because in Serpent and the Rainbow, there's a sexual ceremony, and it manifests in actual intercourse.
Yeah.
And then in practical magic, the love is the theme of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now, there's a cheesiness to the movie that is always challenging for me to get over.
Yeah.
But once I watched it a couple of times, I found the affinity for it.
Yeah.
And the Jilly is the one that is the sex magic.
Yeah.
And Sally is the one that is the true love.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to see, and because you've talked to me about sex magic and sex energy.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting. I understand why you like it so much is because of those themes that are in it.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I do enjoy those themes, but the things that I really like about it is, one, you see hereditary magic coming down, and then you have this generation of two women that are trying to come out from the traditions that they've been raised with and find their own way, not only as witches, but as women. And they have alienation from society, and then later in the movie, they have a community of women. They're literally pulling the phone tree from the school for these women that they've been at odds with, creating community and their own quote-unquote coven in that moment.
That's one of the things that I was going to say, is that I like the sisterhood quality of it, that it really is, it speaks to why women are seen as witches in a negative light or in a positive light, and men don't get that same scrutiny, is because women have always been the ones left with the root work, with the healing, with the medicine in a significant way.
Yeah.
There are tales ages old of men doing the weirdest shit to kings and queens, and let's try rubbing dung in it and all this other stuff. And then there's a woman who has been doing this medicine for generations, like you were saying, doing this medicine, this root work for generations, and has a more practical magic to apply to the illness. And
it's automatically suspect.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's considered bad. But rubbing dung in someone's wound seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Bananas.
Yeah.
But the sisterhood and the feminine empowerment is what I really enjoyed from the movie, and how they all come together with the phone tree to save Jilly.
Yeah. The other thing that I like in that transformation of sisterhood is, for generations, you see in this movie, they don't like other women in the community, do not like the Owens women, because they're afraid they will take their men. And that's one of the ways that we as women have been pitted against each other.
Absolutely.
Throughout history. You know, what happens when your significant other, when your man cheats on you? Do you get mad at him? No, you get mad at that Jezebel that came and took your man.
Right.
You know, now never mind the fact that this woman may or may not have known that he had a significant other or a wife.
Right.
And that he full well knew what he was doing.
Right.
Right? Because, I'm sorry, you don't slip and your your dick just pops in there, right?
Right.
You know, he knows what he's doing, but we automatically villainize the women. We automatically, the other person is the bad guy.
Right.
So that's one of the things that they That is a theme through there. And so much the fact that when the sister comes back and there's a scene in the school where they're talking about the phone tree, she comes back in and they're like, oh, that's the sister, blah, 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 blah. She's like, that's right, girls. Hang on to your husbands.
Right.
Whereas Sally, who's the person that's trying to be normal and fit in,
right,
has never shown any indication of that. But they still don't like her because they have been raised with the belief that the Owens women are trouble.
Right.
But at the end, they let go of all of that. And these women in the community also have that aha moment.
Right.
Because they see the love between this family and the love between these sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that when people get over their preconceived notions, like, we can do really great things.
Yeah.
And I like seeing that here.
And I noticed that they didn't, one of the things they didn't put in the film is they didn't put the archetype of the of one single, like, mean girl leading a pack of other mean girls.
Yeah.
It was as soon as the information was let go, as soon as they came out and were honest and open about what they were.
Yeah.
And they revealed themselves to their neighbors. Their neighbors were like, cool, what do you need us to do?
Yeah.
We'll come through for you.
Yeah. And even the one woman that it seemed like Sally's character had the most strife with, she still showed up.
Right.
And there's this conversation where Sally says, thank you for coming. And she says, well, I've always wanted to see the inside of your house, even when I was a little girl.
Right.
So these women have curiosity about them, but they've still been raised with this belief.
Right.
And, there is the love interest going on in there that you have, and it's Aidan
Quinn.
Yes, Aidan Quinn, who plays the love interest. And that, has bearing about the magic, but it's such a secondary story.
I agree, because I completely forgot all about him.
Yeah.
He shows up as the one that she wished for.
Yes.
Right.
And, and he's investigating the disappearance of Jimmy Angelov, and, and he's, like, obviously suspects them, rightfully so.
He's investigating the disappearance of a young woman who was dating Angelov.
Oh, yeah.
Prior to Jillian.
Yes.
And so that's why the spoiler alert.
Yeah. Yeah, spoiler alert.
He doesn't end up giving a shit about Jimmy disappearing at all.
Except in the fact that he wants to arrest him, yeah. And, but now you also see this person he's a policeman. He, things are very black and white for him. He doesn't believe in mystical shit. And now he's got to come to terms with, not only do I have this crazy connection to this woman.
Right.
And, which of course she's like, nope, I can't do this because this is magic. I manipulated you through this spell. So I can't, cannot, this isn't going to happen.
Right.
And there's this super poignant moment when he's like, but I wished for you too. So two people that fall, they fall for each other. And another secondary story here is the children. So Sally has two daughters that are also magical. But they've grown up with this mother who is so straight-laced and normal and doesn't want to do any magic. And they've moved into this house with these aunts that are showing them these fantastic things. And you hear the little girls go, oh, I bet she couldn't even do magic if she tried. Not knowing that of the two sisters, Sally is actually the more powerful magically. So it's very interesting for me to see, just the aspects of it. And there's a lot of kitchen witchery in it. So they're doing this spell where they're trying to bring Jimmy back to life.
Right.
And it's the funniest thing. And they're like, we need to draw a pentagram on him in white. Do we have white chalk? Do we have a white pen? And the one sister just comes up with whipped cream. A can of whipped cream. She's like, it's what we had. And so often when you are doing spells, and I say it all the time, you know what? Maybe you don't have the thing the spell calls for, but I bet you have something that you can substitute for it.
Right.
In your kitchen cabinets.
Right.
And that's what happens.
Well, definitely in your kitchen cabinets.
I
Those
have
things
a
are
lot
terrifying.
Of yeah,
terrifying.
I have a lot of cabinets. A lot of things in the cabinets. I just think it's a really cute and heartwarming story.
Yeah.
And, love wins out at the end, but it's not the romantic love that we always see happening in movies. Like, this guy comes in, he swoops you off your feet, and he's the hero, and now we're in love. We have a meet cute, and in the end, we're together. Right. In the end, they are together, but the more important thing is that her family is back together.
Right.
Let's see, I'm trying to think, should we segue to family in Beetlejuice or family in The Craft?
The Craft, because I want to hear about this. Okay. Because I'm not...
So you've never seen either one?
No.
All right, so I'll give a brief synopsis of just both. Mm-hmm. So the first Craft movie, I believe the character's name is Sarah. There's this girl, Sarah, that moves into this town. Sarah is a troubled girl. Her family has moved into a new town, hopefully to give her a fresh start. And spoiler alert, in her, before they moved to the town, she tried to commit suicide. That was her big thing. Mm-hmm. I believe that her mother died when she was young, and she's there with her dad and the stepmom, but she has a good relationship with the stepmom. Mm-hmm. But so she's new to this school, and she's trying to kind of fit in, and it's like they're in a Catholic school, and, you have the traditional, like, high school douchebags, and of course there's the one boy that everybody thinks is so cute that she falls for, but she also meets these three girls. Mm-hmm. These three girls are all outcasts of one sort or the other. Mm-hmm. In this school. There's one girl, Nancy, who is basically the school slut. And she's the one that is the most goth. Okay. And her family is considered like white trash. They live in a trailer. Mm. And there's a lot of you get the sense of that there's physical abuse happening in the household, from the stepfather. Mm-hmm. And it's just, whatever depiction you have of quote unquote white trash, that's what they depict her family as. They have the other girl that I cannot remember her name, but she has a lot of scarring. Mm-hmm. So she was obviously badly burned. She has scarring that she deals with. So she is constantly covered up. Mm-hmm. And the kids make fun of her. And kids are cruel.
Right.
The third girl out of the three outcasts she's basically the only black girl in the school. Mm-hmm. And so much that there's the mean girl character that's like, says she finds, like, in her brush, she's like, oh, is this a pubic hair in my brush? Oh, maybe it's one of Rochelle's little nappy curls. Like, really, it's some fucked up shit that's going on here, happening to these girls. Well, when Sarah comes in, they find their fourth. So these girls have been trying to practice, and that's kind of a premise in both movies. Three girls that are trying to practice, and they are trying to, do the traditional, like, Wiccan circles and everything else. Mm-hmm. But they do not have the fourth corner. So when this fourth girl comes in, she is the key that unlocks their magic.
Okay.
Excuse me. And in the first movie, Sarah is a natural witch. Like, they go to this occult shop, and they're like, oh, let's go shopping. And Sarah, of course, is like, oh, I don't have any money. That's okay. We have the 5-finger discount. So they're essentially, stealing from this woman. And later, when they start making the magic happen, everything that the three girls are having issues with, they're fixing. So all of a sudden, like, Nancy has a blow up at the stepdad. He has a heart attack. Well, now it turns out he had like $1 million life insurance policy. Mm-hmm. So now she and her mom have a really great life, and she has money. Nancy's still not happy because obviously Nancy's not happy with what's going on inside Nancy.
Right.
The girl with all the scars, like, the treatments finally work. So now she's in crop tops and sleeveless shirts, showing off herself because now she feels confident for the first time. Mm-hmm. And then for Rochelle, the girl that's been tormenting her is now experiencing, like, she's losing her hair. Like, this blonde, gorgeous hair that she's so proud of. She was the girl that played Marcia.
Okay.
And so you see in these girls, as they have all this stuff happening, that they're still, like, even though they're making this magic happen and they're getting what they want, something's still not sitting right. Nancy's obviously, because she's not happy with herself. Rochelle sees what's happening to this other girl, and while she did do the spell to make this happen, she feels bad because she sees somebody hurting the way that she's been hurt. Mm-hmm. And then for the other girl, whose name that I cannot remember for the life of me, yes, she's getting all this attention, but she's realizing it's not the attention she wants. Now, Sarah just wants the attention of this boy and does a love spell, which, of course, what happens? Oh, it backfires. We have a love spell that has gone awry. However would that happen? So now he's obsessed with her and can't think about anybody but her.
Right. Be careful what you wish for.
Yes. It's cute in the fact that they have like little practices that I think a lot of us have done as young kids.
Yes.
Like, the light as a feather, stiff as board.
Right.
So basically that game, if you've never played it, is your friends all put their fingertips underneath like your back and your legs, and they're holding you up, and they're maybe a couple inches off the ground. You say light as a feather, stiff as a board, and you all chant and get that mojo going. And then if it works, you're supposed to be able to pull your hands away and your friend is still floating in the air. Which is the first thing that they actually end up manifesting. But now Nancy, who wants someone to love her for her, does a glamour. Glamour is the next thing that they do. And it's funny because the Sarah girl is like, do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? And they're like, what? We don't see anything. She's like, my eyes are brown. They're like, okay. She's like, well, my eyes are normally green. And they're like, okay, that's stupid. Do something real. And then she changes her hair color. So now they've all learned glamour. Well, Nancy glamours into Sarah, sleeps with the guy, and then freaks him out, and he ends up dying. So now Sarah feels really awful, and she's like, you know what, like, we have to, like, she's trying to bind Nancy because Nancy is really unraveling and using all the magic in an unhealthy fashion. Some of the aspects that I like from the first craft is that they show the corners, they show them working with nature, but it does take a turn when one of the girls takes what they call Manau into herself. And what happens is they have a scene, spoiler alert, they have a scene where there's all this sea life, like dolphins and a killer whale that have all washed up on shore, and all the animals are dead. And she's walking around like, all the other girls are horrified, and Nancy's like, oh my God, he's blessed us, because she's now off her fucking rocker, because she's taken in way too much power. So Sarah is trying to bind Nancy. Well, it doesn't take, and now the other three girls turn on her and try to make her go crazy and kill herself again. In the end, she takes Manau into herself, but because she is naturally a powerful witch, it balances her because she's not trying to use it for the wrong reasons. And basically in the end, she stops working with all of them. She goes her own path and does whatever she's going to do. But Nancy goes crazy and is in the nut house. Now this has bearing on the next movie. The Craft 2 is a very similar thing. You have our protagonist, whose name I cannot remember. I'm horrible with names. She and her mom have moved in with the mom's boyfriend, who is David Duchovny. And he's this author, and he's this big guy into like men's power and, men not being afraid to be vulnerable. And, they come in, he's got all sons, and it just seems like this ideal thing. And, they've all moved into the house, and now she's going to a new school, and she didn't have any friends before. And the mom's like, hey, maybe you'll make some friends. And she's like, why mess with what's, I didn't have any friends before, so does it really matter? She does meet these three girls. So we have one character that's very kind of brash and out there. All the three girls are very, they are confident in themselves. And one of the girls is trans, which I very much like that depiction. And the other two are just, they're slightly outcasty, but they have all banded together. And again, they're looking for their third. And they find it in our protagonist here. We're going to call her Ellie because I can't remember what the hell her name was. Unless you want to look up the character names on your phone.
Okay.
So she comes in, and the first inkling that they get that this might be their fourth is she's sitting in class and she gets her period. And not only does she get her period in class, she gets it in the most horrific way possible, where she completely bleeds. And let me just say that this is, I have never seen, well, that's the first one. You gotta look for the Craft 2. Craft 2, there you go. Find the cast in that. She has gotten her period in such a horrific fashion that it is literally dribbling off of her chair.
Lily.
There you go. I was close. Ellie, Lily. So the boy that is the person here who's kind of an asshole, is like, oh my God, that's so gross. He makes this huge scene in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
They both end up getting, I think he might have gotten detention. So she runs to the bathroom. And these girls, they leave class and they come out and they're like, hey, I got you some shorts, like they'll probably fit you, so at least you don't have to wear that, So they're kind to her.
Mm-hmm.
So they become friends. And as it turns out, they all click. And one of the first manifestations that they find out that they realize she's the fourth is they're able to speak telepathically.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, freaks her out in the beginning. She's like, what the hell is all this shit? But she's so excited to have friends. And she talks to them, and they find out that, how the magic works. They're able to do things together. And so they decide, you know what? We're going to get back at this dude because he's such an asshole to everybody. Now, normally you think that they're going to come and hex him and they're going to do something really bad. Well, this is where I like this movie.
Mm-hmm.
They decide that they're actually going to use the magic to have him work toward his higher purpose, to be a better person.
Mm-hmm.
So this character, Timmy, he finds his divine feminine. And he realizes what an asshole he's being. He becomes way more, he's sensitive, he's open about things. And you come to find out that the reason he is such an asshole all the time is because he has an identity struggle going on.
Mm.
So the three boys that she has moved into a house with, there's an older brother, a middle brother that's about her grade, who is best friends with Timmy, and a younger brother. Well, the oldest brother and Timmy, you find out later, they have hooked up. So, and during the course of his transformation Timmy's transformation, becoming a better person, he really clicks with these girls because they accept him for who he is. Mm-hmm. And during the course of talking to them, he shares this big secret that he's hooked up with the older brother, but that he knows he's not gay because he likes girls too. So he's struggling with being bisexual, and he has finally shared this. Mm-hmm. His mother has died when he was younger. So they're able to, just share some of the deeper things in their lives and become close. Well, Lily has a crush on Timmy. And one of the pacts that she had made with these girls when they first started practicing was, we're all going to be completely honest with each other. And when they did this spell on Timmy, they're like, you know what? We're not going to do any other spells on him. Like, if we decide to do anything else with him, it has to be a group decision. Mm-hmm. Well, Lily is falling for this dude and does a love spell. So he comes in because he's been hanging out at the house, and they had been talking, and she was feeling very close to him and had his sweatshirt and does this little thing to make him fall for her. He comes back in, they kiss. He has to leave. The stepdad is like, oh, so-and-so's looking for you. Now, what you find out at this point, there had been some rough going between Lily and the stepdad, who's David Duchovny. But you think it's just traditional. He's a very manly man, and, while it is about men's empowerment and it sounds really great, he's still kind of a dick to the girl. Mm-hmm. Well, come to find out, he is our bad guy in all of this. He is not just, the rough kind of stepfather and obsessed with male empowerment. He's obsessed with male empowerment because he is a warlock. And he wants her power. But the only way that she can give up this power is to have her give it up. Mm-hmm. But before all this, after she kisses the boy, he leaves. They find the boy's body. The next day, the school comes in and announces that Timmy has died. And according to the coroner, it looks like Timmy has committed suicide. Mm. So they are all devastated. And in her devastated frenzy, Lily shares with her friends that she did this love spell because she thinks that somehow it might be her fault. Well, now the friends are pissed because they're like, you did magic, and we said that we weren't going to do any more magic on him unless we all agreed. So now they're mad, and they're like, no, we can't, we're not doing any more magic. And they actually bind Lily from her magic. They bind all of them. So the other three girls do a binding on the entire group so that none of them can access their powers. So, at this point, Lily's trying to run away, and I don't know what she's looking for in the stepdad's office, but she finds adoption papers, and it turns out they're her adoption papers. and she never knew that she was adopted. So now she feels betrayed by her mother. You know, she feels betrayed by her friends. She has lost this guy she really cares for. So she is now spiraling. So, you know, she's like, Mom, can we please just go somewhere, you and I? And the mom had said no, but then later the mom comes in and she's like, you know what, let's just go somewhere, you and I. Well, you come to find out in this that it's not really the mom. It's David Duchovny who has shapeshifted into the mom because he's trying to get her to give her the power. Mm-hmm. Well, now she has no power, so she's trying to get away from him. And in the meantime, the friends, Ouija boards kind of feature throughout this entire movie. They're a theme that keeps popping up. Mm-hmm. Well, Timmy has been on the Ouija board, and he talks to the friends and tells them what happened, so now they know. Timmy didn't commit suicide. Stepdad killed him. Because he was weak. He wasn't following the male empowerment agenda. Mm-hmm. So, David Duchovny is chasing her down, trying to get her power. The girls unbind her, and they all come together, and they end up killing David Duchovny. Now, the reason it ties in with the first Craft movie is because you find out at the very end, again, spoiler alert, Nancy Downs from the first movie is her biological mother. Mm. So she got, whatever power Nancy had, and then this power from now probably passed down to her, which is why she was the catalyst to click these girls. Now, I like a couple of themes that they do go for empowerment more than typical vengeance, or the typical things that you would think the teenagers would want. And rather than revenge on the young man, they're like, we just want you to be better. So I like those themes. And that they hold themselves accountable. You know, after this happened, of course, it took some huge catalyst for them to decide, okay, well, now we're not touching this anymore. So I did like that about those movies. Whereas in the first one, it was very wild, and there was just one person going, that was the person actively saying, this is all not okay. Right. While the rest of them might have had, the other two besides Nancy had reservations, but never spoke up about it. And now in the second movie, you have 4 very strong female characters, and these other 3 girls are very much about, you know, these things are right and wrong. You know, and they even admit when they did the first spell on him, even though it was for the young man, Timmy's higher good, they're like, we already did this without his consent. Doing any other magic on him without his consent would not be good. Yes, this was for the betterment of him, but we did do this without his consent. Right. And I like how those themes have come through.
So, being responsible in your practice.
Yes. And thinking about what you're doing. As someone that did do a love spell when I was a kid, and that did take away someone's free will, that was a manipulation on someone else, like, that resonated with me. You know, and like, you see in the scene leading up, and you know she's going to do the love spell, and you're like, don't do it, and she does it. But I remember those feelings as a young person that did that spell. And so I could identify with that moment, even though now I know that it's a really, oh, what?
Give me this.
My sweater, are you cold?
Yeah.
So I could really identify with the character while I was also like, no, bad idea. And I guess I'm trying to think of how this segues into
to Beetlejuice.
To Beetlejuice.
I don't know. Beetlejuice was our fun choice.
That was our fun choice, and actually, I haven't seen the second one yet. I have. Okay, so you can talk about that one. I did rewatch the first one again, which I haven't seen for years.
I know, and this is just for fun. So, with Beetlejuice, I think that some of the things that it touches on Hoodoo 2 and Voodoo 2, which but in such a playful way. Yeah. It's never offensive to me. The Winona Ryder character is the force that pushes all of this to happen. Yeah. And the fact that she can see the ghosts in the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, you got to see the movie.
If you haven't seen the movie, what planet are you on?
Why are you even listening to this?
Yeah. If you haven't seen Beetlejuice, right? It was such a phenomenon when it first came out.
No kidding.
Yeah. I love her thing. How can you see us? Well, it says in your book,
yeah,
that the living often ignore the strange and unusual. Well, I myself am strange and unusual. You know, she's typical teenage, gothic, angsty. I'm gonna dress in all black, and I'm writing this horrific poem while I'm in my long black dress and my black veil. You know, it's.
I was one of those.
Yeah, I bet you were. Well, you know, I wrote my share of angsty teenage poetry.
Right, didn't we?
Yeah,
God, it's so bad.
I remember there was one that was called Suicidal Tendencies. And I remember writing the beginning of this thing, and I don't remember the rest of it. But there was a song later that I swear to God, the beginning of what I wrote, that thing was in the song. And I was like, did I write it because I wrote it? Or did I write it because I heard that song? Because I don't remember, you know, chicken or the egg, right?
Right.
But yeah, you know, and I think anyone that ever dabbled in witchcraft as a teenager probably completely identifies with this character.
No kidding. And I think that the mom is also a catalyst, the stepmom.
The stepmom, oh yeah.
Yeah. I think her artwork is
horrific.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
But I think that it's conduit artwork. That's the way I look at it. Just because it's so bad, it has to be from the underworld,
right? So in this movie, we have not the Dietzes. The Dietzes. No, the Dietzes are the family that move in, but we have the husband and wife that have.
Are they the Campbells?
No, I don't know what their name is. Anyway, it's not Winona Ryder. She's the girl.
It's Gina Davis.
Gina Davis, and I forget the name of the actor that plays the husband. But
Alec Baldwin.
The Maitlands. The Maitlands.
The Maitlands.
So they are the Maitlands. They are this couple with no children that are totally in love in this big kind of country house, and they end up dying. Just right off the bat, beginning of the movie, because, you know, otherwise you wouldn't have a movie. They come back.
Tim Burton.
Yeah, because Tim Burton. But they come back to their house. They're spirits that are inhabiting their house. They cannot leave the house. Anytime they try to leave the house, they end up in this horrific sand wasteland with these giant sandworms. So they're trying to figure out what has happened to them, and they end up in the underworld. And it's you know, the prevailing joke there is if you in this canon here, if you commit suicide, you end up becoming a civil servant.
Right.
So all the civil servants that you see there are people like the one receptionist. She's like, if I knew then what I knew now, I wouldn't have had my little accident. And she holds up her wrists, and you've seen that she's slit her wrists.
Right.
So it's all very, you know, it's all very whimsical, and it's campy, and they make it comical.
So campy.
Yeah. But their basic thing is that they're being told by their worker, their social worker, is that, you know, you don't want the dead people there. You don't want the living people there. Get rid of them yourself. Now, coming into this is this character, Beetlejuice, who is a quote-unquote bioexorcist. Means that he will get rid of your living problem. Now, as the movie goes on, you learn that he is a loose cannon, and definitely not the person you want to go to solve your problems.
The interesting thing is, after having seen the second one, there's extensive storyline here, which is interesting. I'm not going to go into the second one because it's so new.
Okay, fair.
But they draw lines through the whole two movies, and that's one thing I enjoyed about the second movie.
Nice.
Is that I connected it to the first movie really easily.
Oh, cool. Well, one thing I did find interesting that has been in the news anyway, so it's not really a spoiler. The man that played the dad for the Dietzes, Wes Craven did not ask him back to the film.
Tim Burton,
yeah, sorry. Wes Craven was the Serpent in the Rainbow. Tim Burton specifically did not want him on the movie because he's been arrested and jailed for very bad things.
Right, for very bad things.
For very bad things.
Yeah.
And so he was like, nope. And I don't know if they reference him at all in the second movie.
They do.
They do.
That's that explains why he didn't make it in the movie.
Yeah. But this first movie is very campy because like Beetlejuice is just trying to get out. He's trying to get out, and he decides that if they're not going to let him out to do what he wants to do, he's going to find another way.
Yeah, he just wants to wreak havoc on the world.
Oh yeah, he's one of you ever meet those people that just want to watch it burn?
Yeah,
that's Beetlejuice. Except he does it in the funniest way possible.
No kidding.
And there's lots of little weird scenes like he's in this little miniature landscape of the whole town that the Maitland husband has done when he was alive, and he's there and he's talking all this shit, and Gina Davis goes to pick her up. She picks him up and he sprouts thorns, so she drops him, and then he's on this little astroturf bottom, that's their grass there, and he's like stuck to it because of the thorns. It's really funny little things like that. I always love watching that movie because it's got so many funny things.
Well, this one is all about possession, about the iconic dinner scene where they do Deo.
Yeah, they all get possessed. And then
they all get possessed by Beetlejuice.
Yeah. And
Beetlejuice is just the funnest character.
Well, the first possession during the Deo scene, that was the Maitlands possessing them because they were trying to get them out.
Right.
But then later, he possesses people, and then he decides that the way he's going to get to stay in the mundane world is by marrying Lydia.
Right. Who is Winona Ryder's character.
Which just hysterical.
It's one of the funniest movies. It's definitely a staple of my childhood.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the way it plays with magic and the way it plays with the supernatural.
Yeah.
It makes it fun.
Yeah.
It's death is more fun than you would think death would be.
Yeah. Now, I would say if you are looking for a movie and you are a stickler about your magic, this is not the movie for you because it makes fun of everything. Honestly, like, hello, you have a handbook for the dead. Why is it visible to the living?
Right.
That so much that this guy Otho, this other character who's pretty much a blowhard and full of himself, he finds it and he's able to use an ink. First of all, he's able to read it. No one else can read it but Otho and Lydia, apparently, because as they say, it reads like stereo instructions. But not only is he able to read it, he's able to find an incantation and use it in there. So, yeah, if you are at all particular about how your magic is portrayed in your media, it's not the movie for you.
Definitely not.
If you want a good laugh, it's a great movie.
Tim Burton is an irreverent person.
Yes.
He definitely likes to twist the knife.
Yeah, and why wouldn't you?
It's because it's fun, and that's the whole point of having Beetlejuice in here, is that it's not all seriousness, it's not all following the rules, it's not...
Yeah.
And there's magic in that.
There really is, and this is the kind of portrayal that I like. Sometimes I see stuff in the movies, and I'm rolling my eyes at how they portray witches.
Right.
But this movie, there's not a moment that I'm like, I didn't like that. I loved every bit of it.
Yeah. Right on. Well.
Yeah. So that was our spiel. We ran a little bit over to what we normally like to run, but I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I hope that we inspire you to go to the movies. Or to pull them up. Most of these movies that I watched were available through Prime Video. Angel Heart and Serpent in the Rainbow both are a rent to own right now, but I think they are streaming on some of the platforms. If you have those, they're Paramount
Max.
and
Paramount
Max.
and Max, I think. For Angel Heart and Serpent and the Rainbow.
Was Angel Heart on Max? I didn't see it on Max. I didn't see either one of those on Max.
I can't remember, but
yeah,
I was able to access both of them for free.
Oh, well.
And Beetlejuice.
Well, you're smarter than I am because I paid for them.
Oh, geez.
But you know what? It was well worth it. But yeah, so definitely look them up. Even The Craft and The Craft Legacy. Definitely, I think that they all were worth the watching.
I'm going to have to watch those.
Yeah. But I just want to say thanks again for sitting up and listening to this with us. And I want to thank Lauren for being here and picking such great movies.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to say to the people before we, before I do all of our advertisement here?
No, I just want to say thank you for listening and thank you for being part of this. Without you, this wouldn't happen and it wouldn't be worth it.
Exactly. So a little bit of housekeeping and social media. Please follow us on social media. You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook. We do not have a TikTok, but we are a part of the Golden Apple Patreon. I'm going to list all these links in our episode notes. You can also occasionally find us on doing lives or come down to Heinolds and see Lauren
behind the bar.
Yeah, she can scare you with things dropping on your head. But again, thanks for listening. I will have I will find links to all of these movies, put them in the episode notes, as well as links to all of our social media. As always, if you have any questions, comments, please comment on our social media. Send us an email. I'll have, again, this information in the notes, but our email is whatinthemysticalhell@gmail.com. And thanks so much for listening with us. This has been another episode of What in the Mystical Hell podcast, where we are probably nothing like the witches you see in the movies. But when things go bump in the night, we know how to bump back. Thanks, y'all.
Bye-bye.